Sensei Beats.
What's up, guys? This is episode 12 of Just Some Weebs. Today we'll be discussing JoJo, and somebody in this podcast has unfortunately dropped it. And we will be, speaking a little on Weathering with You because Eric unfortunately has not gotten the chance to watch it, but my friend Connor here and fellow podcast member has amazingly watched one of my favorite movies. And we're going to be speaking of the first 3 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I feel like we can also, compare it to what we've seen in the manga. Me and Connor have seen the manga. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. Who wants to kick off the conversation?
What do you guys want to start with first?
Want to start with JoJo's?
Yeah, let's start with
JoJo's.
JoJo's, all right. So, Noel, how far did you get on JoJo's, or how far are you on JoJo's anime?
I am on the Diamond Unbreakable. No, not Diamond. The 4th part. Why am I not focusing?
That is Diamond Unbreakable.
That is Diamond Unbreakable?
Yeah, after Stardust Crusaders.
Okay.
So, I just started Stardust Crusaders this week for this podcast, and I made it to when they leave India, and yes, I unfortunately dropped it at that point. I don't intend to drop it forever. I will probably watch it for next week or whenever. I'll pick it back up at some point, but I had trouble making it through, man. Something about it. Like, I felt like they weren't trying to make it serious. I felt like they were kind of just trying to go over the top and just, I don't even know what they were trying to do. It just felt weird.
Serious.
I feel like that's kind of like the image of JoJo, with the ridiculous poses and, the exaggerated, fights that they have. And it's, you get slow, but then it builds up and it gets, there's emotional scenes in it because there's characters that you don't want, to go, and they unfortunately do go.
Yeah.
For example, the last episode of Battle in Egypt, I didn't hate the episode. I loved the episode, but it was so sad. Like, no, why?
See, I feel like that's why I dropped it, is that I feel like there was no emotional connection to it.
Oh, it gets so emotional.
It does? Okay, because maybe that's why I was just holding out, and maybe I just didn't hold out long enough, because at the point where I felt like there was no anything to any of the characters. They all kind of were doing their own separate thing. Like, they were together in a group, but they all had their own thing going on, and there just wasn't any backstory on any of them, really.
Don't worry, you'll get everything.
Yeah, it'll get there. Yeah.
Right.
There's one part I'm hoping you like, Connor. Since you're in India, did you get to the part where Polinar fights the puppet dude?
Yes, that part was actually sick. I thought
that fight
was really
sick. I love that fight.
Yeah.
That
was
one
my favorite.
That had you on the edge of your seat. That was intense.
Right. Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about up until where I watched was that it was just always they fight somebody and then they join their group. It's like, okay, I defeated you, now you're part of us. And they just, I don't know, it just was the same thing over and over again. Again, I only made it I don't know, halfway, I guess.
I think that only happens until Polinar. What's his name? How do you pronounce his name?
I don't know any of their names, really. I know Jotaro and Joseph.
Like that.
Jotaro, Absol, Polinar,
that's his name. I think
the French dude with the pompadour.
Yeah.
Right. Who's the other student, the one with the red hair?
Kakaruk.
Yeah, I got to the point.
Their names are so
Yeah, it's Karakoki.
Yeah, I got to the point where they were talking, or he was an imposter. He was the gold, the gold stand. I think so. Was it somebody that just took his appearance or something and then pretended to be him, and then he fought Jotaro and the
I think he was Are you talking about when he was mind controlled in actual school?
No, this was later on. I think it was right before India, or maybe it was during why they were in India. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. I think it was. I remember like it was like this golden like goo that was over this guy, and when he touched, if anybody touched it, it like started like eating away his energy.
Now I know what you're talking about. And did you get to the part where they killed him or?
I can't remember. I think that was like around the part I stopped.
Okay.
Maybe.
Did you get to the part where they were fighting the mirrored guy that was like his stand was basically like a reflection, and
that sounds familiar. I think I remember just like them leaving. They like decided that they were gonna go to like by train or something, and that's where I stopped.
Okay.
I don't remember what part it was, but I don't know. I feel like stands, like the whole stand concept has like is a really cool idea, but I haven't seen it like really taken to its limit yet.
It gets there, especially it does in Stardust Crusaders, but in later parts, oh my gosh, it's freaking awesome.
Right. Like I feel like Stardust Crusaders is kind of like they're testing out this idea of stands and it hasn't really fully developed yet. So I feel like I would really like Diamonds Unbreakable. And what is part 5 is like Gold Wind, is it?
Gold Wind, yeah, where they're all in Italy.
Yeah, I feel like those two would be I've heard so much about those ones, but I obviously I have to watch Stardust Crusaders. I can't just skip it, but
yeah,
I find it hard for me to get through it.
You're kind of for the culture.
I did get a JoJo shirt, so I will finish it. I will finish it, and then I'll show you guys the shirt.
One of JoJo figure, man, is so damn expensive. Like you cannot find an actual authentic JoJo figure for like less than $150.
Really?
They're ridiculously priced.
Right. Oh yeah, they all are really expensive.
Shit. But, who's your favorite character from Stardust Crusaders?
The dog.
The dog?
Oh, Iggy?
Yeah,
I don't think I've gotten to Iggy yet.
Yeah, Iggy is Battle of Egypt.
Is it a dog that is a stand user?
Yeah.
Oh god, I can only imagine.
It's fucking cool. No, it is fucking cool though.
Really?
Asshole.
It's so cool what they do with it and his fight too. Like,
yeah, it's Iggy is a character that's gonna get emotional over. Like, and he's just.
I do love dogs.
You would not expect a dog to be such an asshole like Iggy. Like,
yeah, this dog is such a dick.
Is it a he or
chat of dogs?
She, right?
He.
It's a he.
Yeah, I think Iggy's a he.
Okay, because he has like eyelashes that make him kind of like.
Kind of weird looking. Kind of a weird looking dog, but.
But he just does things and piss you off, like, and especially the Polar North. Their relation.
Which one is he again? Is he the right? Okay.
White hair,
like Steel Chariot, right?
Steel Chariot, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of liked him.
Polnarf's awesome. I love Polnarf.
I really liked it. I thought he was an asshole when he first got introduced, but I ended up liking him.
Same. He's a gentleman. He's the opposite of Chad.
Yeah, he's a gentleman.
Just wait. Yeah. You gotta get to Battle in Egypt, man. There's a reason why that season is my favorite season, man.
Oh, Egypt, yeah. And Jotaro's kind of an asshole too, but you kind of get to figure out more of why he's such an asshole.
Okay, you do. Good, because that's like I don't like Jotaro at all.
Really? He's my favorite one, honestly.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite. Well, one of the reasons why Jotaro is the way he is he's an asshole, but he doesn't really understand that he's an asshole because he doesn't understand certain social cues. I don't know if it's written, but like everyone's stated that he has Asperger's.
Okay.
That's why he acts the way he does.
See, that would make it so much more likable if they like explained it or like talked about his backstory.
Yeah.
But up until where I'm at, it's literally just him being a dick to like his mom and stuff. I'm like, dude, what? Why?
I mean, yeah, I definitely felt the same way when I first watched Stardust Crusaders. But his mom was kind of annoying, though. I'm not gonna lie. His mom was kind of annoying.
Right.
It's like so.
Yeah, just like
she's so really nice for no reason, like to everybody.
Yeah. It's just Jotaro's just shotgunning a beer in prison.
Yeah.
Just tries to shoot himself and his stand saves him. Star Platinum.
Yeah, dude, I finally got to see all the memes too, like the cherry scene and the Mudas.
There are more memes to come.
More memes to come, especially with part 5.
Yeah, part 5. So, who's the Joestar family member in part 5?
Giorno Giovanna.
Oh, in part 5, yeah.
So that one's Giovanni. Okay, because I've
Yeah,
heard
with the
so
freaking the donut rolls in his hair, like the curls.
I
Which
think he's the one that's on the shirt I got.
oh, I have one too. I have one of Giorno Giovanna and Mista Guido, which is one of my favorite characters of all
I've heard
time.
he's the other one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Mista's freaking awesome.
since I haven't watched part 5, so which one is Dio's grandson?
Dio's grandson is Giorno. Giorno's Dio's grandson. Technically, well, Giorno is technically Jonathan's grandson, but Dio has Jonathan's body with his head, and he ended up getting some girl pregnant. So it's kind of messed up that way.
No, dude, tell me if this is like, is this a thing that like JoJo's is supposed to kind of be like, just like a reenactment of like Dracula in a sense, like this vampire immortal dude, and it's like he always dies and then comes back, and it's like it kind of gives me like Dracula,
like in a way, yes,
like story tropes.
But it is kind of towards the beginning, yeah, and with Dio a little bit,
right? Yeah. Like it obviously deviates from it, but like the general concept of having this one like invulnerable badass that like you can defeat, but he'll always come back somehow. It's like kind of cool.
Yeah, I love Dio.
I think they really stopped doing the big vampire thing after the second part of what is the part with Josuke? Is it Josuke?
Yeah, Josuke.
What is that part? What is that part called? This is just the second part of the original JoJo.
Josuke is Diamond's Unbreakable. That's his part where he's the Joestar.
Oh no. Then what part is that? What's
the second part is Joseph Joestar, right?
Yeah,
Joseph, he's the grandpa in part 3.
Yeah. What's this is just the second part of the original Bizarre.
I don't know what part 1 and part 2 are called.
Part 1 was Phantom Blood.
Phantom Blood, right?
Okay. Or was that? I think I'm trying to remember what part 2 was called.
Whatever the one is with Joseph. It's I think the vampire stuff.
Yeah.
After that, it just became like the stands and
Yeah, because honestly, now that I'm thinking about it too, it kind of like got some Castlevania vibes. Like the Joestars are like the what are the good guys?
Would you say JoJo has Castlevania vibes? Or does Castlevania have JoJo vibes? JoJo
Castlevania dude's been around for decades in the game.
Yeah, JoJo's came out in 86 or 87.
Oh, did it really? It's
old. It's really old. Like everything you're watching right now is from the 80s. Shit. It's just adapted into an anime, and then like Diamond's Unbreakable and Goldwind are like more like 90s, early 2000s.
Damn, I don't know when Castlevania started. I know that there's like some old ass like Sega games and shit for Castlevania, but it's kind of the same thing. Like what are the Belmonts? That's what it is. The Belmonts,
yeah.
Like Dracula and like Alucard and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Some similarities there. But I'm going to force myself to go through it because I know that JoJo is so loved, and I'm sure that I'll eventually love it too. But I did have a hard time at the beginning. I can't lie about that.
I just want you guys to get to Goldwind. Goldwind has the coolest freaking stands too. Like
really,
so many interesting, unique stands. My favorite two are probably Metallica and Sex Pistol.
Sex Pistol. Oh, so they're like bands in that one?
Mista's is called Sex Pistol, and he has like 6 stands that are little bullets that he can control. It's freaking awesome. And Metallica, you can just make metal like spawn out of nowhere and stuff, like literally make it spawn in your skin and like make you throw up razor blades and just fucking, and he can turn invisible too and reconnect things with metal. Like he has a really OP stand, but then he goes against Davalo and his stand is just the most OP. But yeah, Goldwind has some of the best stand abilities.
Who do you think's the best stand in Stardust? Actually, well, I guess I haven't seen it all. I haven't seen Dio's stand yet, and I'm assuming his is pretty badass.
My top 3.
You don't see his stand until like I think the last couple episodes of
right, that makes sense.
Battle in Egypt, but it's in all honesty, it doesn't live up to the hype that it got. Like I was a little disappointed when I saw the world. Like,
because Star Platinum is still like probably the best one in Stardust. And Vanilla Ice, that's a real. Oh, you haven't gotten to Vanilla Ice yet.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, no, it sounds
Now I
not
have to
threatening,
finish
but
it.
it is so freaking OP. Like Vanilla Ice is like the most dangerous stand.
I
Mm.
gotta watch it now. I mean, Vanilla, my homeboy
The
Vanilla
guy
Ice.
Vanilla
And
Ice. Yeah, I love how it's all like bands and Diamonds Unbreakable, Killer Queen,
oh
and his
God,
ability.
dude,
Yeah,
that's
his
my favorite.
Killer
Right.
Queen, with his ability bites the dust.
Oh,
Freaking awesome.
Ice Baby. Oh, Noel's camera died.
Yeah,
No, no, that's
but yeah, no, all their stands of like, I just love how it's all named after like American bands and
That's funny.
musicians and shit. And like, part 5, I want you just to get to the outro. It has the best outro out of any anime ever.
Right.
mm.
Okay. All right, guys, you've sold me. I'm gonna have to do it. Gonna
All
have to
right.
freaking do it.
Now, so tell me what you. Okay, so since Eric hasn't watched Weathering with You yet, tell me what you think about it so far without spoiling anything to Eric.
Okay. Well, Eric, do you know what it's about?
No, I do not.
Okay, so I'll give a little bit of my rundown of what I think it was about. Like the basic premise is like this high school kid boy runs away to Tokyo and like I don't want to get too much into the plot, but like he basically finds this guy that kind of becomes like a mentor to him and like kind of takes him off the street. And it kind of they like are running stories for like a newspaper or magazine or a website, I think, or they're just trying to like
Yeah, it's
create
like
stories and
a
like sell
magazine.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're doing one on urban myths, urban legends. So he like finds this person called a Sunshine Girl, and they're like known to be able to like bring forth good weather and shit. And let's just say they create this kind of loving relationship, and it gets really tear jerky at sometimes, and it gets happy and makes you laugh and smile at times as well. But all the time throughout the series, the animation is absolutely amazing, absolutely beautiful. And
Yeah.
I think it's the new era, the modern version of Studio Ghibli and Ghibli or however you want to call it, and like the Hayao Miyazaki films. Like I feel like
Oh
this.
wow.
I don't know how old this guy is and if he has older pieces. I know he's done Your Name, right?
Yeah, he's done Your Name, and surprisingly, he's done 5 centimeters per second.
Oh, really? So yeah, so I've seen 5 centimeters per
Yeah.
second now, and this one. So I think he has definitely created a name for being like beautiful animation, and I can only imagine that he's gonna keep coming out with stuff. But
Oh hell yeah.
it
Yeah.
was it
And
was very enjoyable.
yeah, what would you rate it, knowing that you've seen
The one thing I could say that I absolutely didn't like was the dubbed voice actor for the main character. I thought he was kind of trash. But aside from that, I think the story overall was really cool, and it was very sad at the end. And you know, I don't want to say how it exactly ends, but there's some sad parts, there's some happy parts. I think I would give it like a 7.5 probably.
it? Okay, okay. Knowing
7.5 to 8.
from a strictly shonen man, I'll take that as a win.
Yeah, it is. Hey, it is. It's a win for me.
Okay, okay, okay. Shoot.
I'm pretty stingent with my ratings, I would say
Yes,
too. Like,
yes.
it's hard for me to get up to like that 8.59 threshold.
I feel that.
Okay,
But,
okay.
but yeah,
Ah,
I definitely would recommend. It's on the recommend list.
what's wrong with my camera today? It's just unfocusing and focusing.
I'm gonna go back now, back and forth.
Yeah.
But
Uh, Jujutsu Kaisen.
yeah, there was like seconds. But yeah, let's discuss Jujutsu Kaisen.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the
The
anime.
elephant in the room.
Let's start off with the animations. The animations are absolutely amazing in the anime. Like
Oh yeah, I didn't.
a lot better than I thought it would have been.
Dude, Studio Mappa, man. They're like the next big thing.
like when I forgot her name, when she hit the nails and like it went into like a slow mo, and you can
Nobara.
yeah, Nobara, you can clearly see like I don't know. It's just they put a lot of time into the animation. It really does show. For animation, I'll give it like an 8.59 from what I
Yep.
can see so far.
Right.
Yeah, the animation's really good.
Yeah, Studio Mappa is like dude, like they just keep coming out with more and more, and every single thing they come out with, like the next one's that much better. Like I'm so pumped also to see what they do once Attack on Titan season 4 finally comes out, because this is like, I mean, I can see how much they've put into a new series that doesn't have that much hype, and I'm assuming doesn't have that big of a studio budget as something like Attack on Titan, and it still looks that great. Being Jujutsu Kaisen, you know, I'm sure that they kind of had a feeling with the manga sales that it was going to be a big hit, so they put a lot of effort into it. But like something like Attack on Titan, a final season, I can't even imagine how much like unlimited budget they're gonna have in creating that animation. So it's crazy, dude.
Ah man, it's like, and honestly, from the accuracy of the manga that it's hit so far, I'm impressed because it's hit every mark that so far at the
Yep.
point that the anime is in,
Yep.
and I think it's gonna directly follow, like directly follow the manga because if
Yeah.
I'm is the manga ending soon, Connor, or
They've not confirmed anything. They've talked about potentially ending around chapter 200
yeah.
ish, and it's at 127 right now. So I guess we'll see if they create another story arc to go into after this is done. But where they're at right now is kind of like a climax of everything that the manga's led up to so far. So they'd have to recreate the wheel here a little bit if they wanted to extend it past 200 without really just stretching shit out.
So would you say that the manga has enough content for, like, let's say 2 seasons, 3 seasons?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
100%. I think this they could probably get three seasons, maybe four if they if they do like 26 episodes. I don't know, maybe they would have to do kind of like what Demon Slayer's doing and release a movie for I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll just say like the was it the charity event arc, the one where the two schools
Yeah,
are
yeah.
competing. Like I think that could be more of like a movie, kind of like Demon Slayer's doing with season 2.
Okay,
It's kind of a shorter arc. But
okay.
if they do that, then maybe like 2 or 3 full seasons with a movie.
What did you think about the anime so far, Eric? So far, what you've watched, and what are you hoping or excited to see
Um,
in the upcoming episodes?
so far I really like it. Like I said, I love the animation. I love the characters, and it's very different too. Even though it's kind of like that old high school setting and
Yeah.
whatnot. Like I feel like they're doing something really different with it, and with the combat and like
Mm-hmm.
the summoning and everything else, and the characters too. Like it's yeah, it's very very unique, and I think it's good. I think it's going to be the next big thing because even all my friends are talking about it, and we're all like tuning in to watch the latest episode and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be the next big shonen.
Dude,
Okay.
I think so for sure. I think Demon Slayer, obviously, it's not finished yet, so I think that anime still is going to grow a bunch.
Oh yeah.
And I don't really know what the third one's going to be yet, but I think Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer have kind of cemented themselves as like the next two big powerhouses in the shonen world.
Honestly, from what I'm from what I read so far, I honestly am starting to like Jujutsu Kaisen a lot more than Demon Slayer, unfortunately, and it's just because
Mm,
towards the end, Demon Slayer just they did not hit the mark. They really just like,
they kind
That's
of
what I
rushed.
heard.
yeah, they
I
just
think that they do like that last arc. Like they finally got to in a Demon Slayer. They finally got to a point where they're like, okay, like the shit's finally hitting the fan, and they're like, okay, instead of like dragging it out and like coming up with cool stuff to happen, we're just gonna like throw everybody at each other and just have a
Yeah.
huge epic battle and then just end it.
and
I
then
find that that's an issue with shonen in general, is they kind of rush their publishers to each week to put out a new chapter, and it doesn't
Right.
give them enough time to get closure or get their ideas
Uh huh.
collected. Because that's what happened with the Beastars ending too. Wasn't really
Right.
that good because it felt so rushed, and like I would prefer to not get a chapter for like a week or two, for like an extra week or two, if they can just improve the story and make it end well. Because sometimes the writers need more time to think out the story, and I feel like that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of these animes don't have such great endings, is because they were just pushed too fast to do it.
Right, dude. I couldn't agree more. That's why I think Hunter x Hunter, like Togashi, like I think Hunter x Hunter at a point where like his illustrations and stuff are kind of lacking. Like when you get to the Chimera arc, there's some parts where it just looks like it was rushed, like he was forced to do it. And I think that's part of the reason that he took so many hiatuses, you know, like there's so many like guidelines or timelines they have to meet and restrictions for coming out with chapters and whatnot, that it forces some of these people to just end their series
It
before.
does, yeah, and I feel like Shonen's a big culprit of that because even the offsets of Shonen, like Shonen Champion, I feel like I heard they did that. I mean, I know for sure they did that with Beastars, and they did that with Baki too. Only like, I mean, Shonen Champion's a little bit different because their mangas are just too degenerate to be in the Jump. But,
Right.
but yeah, no, they are like same thing. It's like chapter each week, always each week. Oh, sometimes you get 2 weeks until a chapter if there's a holiday skip or whatever, but it's like
Right.
so strict that they have to do that. And it's like, I really prefer if they would just let the writers take a break.
Yeah, it's literally be like, okay, take a month break and just brainstorm like what
Yeah.
you want to do when this arc is done. So that way, once you're like forced to do weekly chapters again and you're done this arc, you know like what you want next for the story. You don't have to just rush to come up with an ending. And I think again, coming back to Togashi and like Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, I think like he developed such a good name for himself with like being known for creating these great series. And you see with Yu Yu Hakusho the last arc with like, you know, when they go to the demon world, it seemed like it was going to be this huge thing. They're talking about these giant wars and these armies, and then they just rush to finish it with a tournament. And I
Yeah.
think he realized that like, wow, this is kind of bullshit. Like I'm just ruining my series, or not ruining them completely, but like I'm not ending them how I want to. And then for him and in his instance, I mean, he got a big enough name where he kind of now can just come out with chapters whenever he wants.
Oh yeah.
Hunter x Hunter, like it's not technically ended, but he comes out with a chapter or two a year, maybe, or sometimes not even one in a year. But like Demon Slayer, Beastars, all these new series, these
Yeah.
people, these mangakas haven't been around for so long where it's either they sink or swim. They keep coming out with chapters, or they just rush and end it, or they don't
Yeah.
get published.
That's exactly what happened. It's a real shame.
Right. They're like forced between a rock and a hard place. And it's kind of upsetting in a way, but I mean, it's either they get published or they don't.
That's true.
Right.
And I
I
feel
guess
like
they're going to webtoons.
honestly, like I might be like assuming, right? But I feel like the original shonen animes don't get um serialized. Like
Mm,
they try to like keep the same kind of ideas, demons, heroes, etc., etc. And that's what they choose. Like they don't really let people be original in their own kind of way. So that's why
mm.
people kind of like move to other um
Yeah.
magazines and stuff like that. Like
I feel that for sure. They're like Shonen Jump's like, all right, that's a cool idea. Now where are the demons?
Tower of God is, if you I'm not sure if you guys watch Tower of God,
I
I
but
have not.
haven't.
Tower of God is it's so different.
Mm,
The main character is sadly a simp,
mm.
but
Very common
yeah,
trope.
Yeah.
but they go to eat. They basically try to go on. They're coming out with another season, but they basically their goal is to go to the top, to reach the top of the tower, and they have to fight their way to the top of the tower, and they fight other people that are trying to get to the top of the tower.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see shonen anime like that, and I guess it's because it's kind of that's more of a Korean anime than a Japanese anime, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just it really hits differently than majority of these shonen anime. Like I binged it from like the first episode to like the ending, and
Mm-hmm.
like within the same day, and I couldn't put it down.
Right.
And but you have um webtoon animes like Tower, what's it called, God of High
God of
School,
High
that
School. Yeah.
just honestly missed the mark at the end.
Dude, it had such a hype, and I
Yeah,
watched like the first 5 episodes, and I just found myself like falling asleep and not really.
yeah, it rushed it too much. Like I want to know about the Monkey King. I want to know about all these things, and they just just we're gonna go through all the fights. We're gonna go all white. And you're gonna go through all the fights.
Right.
And just mm, threw all the hype that the anime had in the beginning of anime and just left the rest of it to die.
Right.
And that's just, I feel like that's one reason why I'm kind of like falling off of shonen. Like you have these specific shonen anime that I
Yeah.
do like, but I feel like no matter um how do I say it, cliche romance, comedy animes,
Yeah.
they still have that nostalgic, that that feeling that you always will go back to it, because they all have a homey, happy, feeling that everybody wants. And shonen animes, I'm expecting something that I sometimes just never get, and it's
That's
so
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
infuriating. And it's just like, and then when I have friends that like, Akame ga Kill is my favorite anime. I'm like, I don't want to knock your favorite anime, but Akame ga Kill is a terrible anime when you think about it. Like, it literally is. It's an anime where they kill off every single main character for no
That's
reason.
one of those animes where people just like it because it's cool and edgy.
It's
And that's the reason why they probably like it. And it's violent and whatever, but it's you look at the plot and how it's paced, and it's
Mm,
just terrible.
right.
man, but Jujutsu Kaisen, honestly, it's hitting a place where not
Yeah.
many anime are able to hit for me, because I'm really picky with
Right.
shonen anime. Like
Yeah.
I agree, dude.
I'm starting to get that way too.
Right. I just kind of wish, I personally like kind of wish that Jujutsu Kaisen didn't get an anime yet, in my opinion.
I can honestly agree with that. I
Yeah.
feel they
Right.
could have
Because
they could have let the anime finish, so there wouldn't have to
the
be like
manga, yeah.
a possibility of fillers, or or things like that.
Yeah, not even so much the fillers that I'm worried about. I'm just worried about like now that the anime started, once that first season's done and like people realize like, oh my god, this is so sick, they now are gonna rush the manga, and I believe they're gonna either have pressure on them to come out with chapters faster, and the person's either gonna be able to handle the pressure and just like be like, all right, add filler, I don't care, like I'm gonna take my time and create, kind of like Ichiro Oda with One Piece, like they have so much filler in the anime just because he's constantly coming out with shit every week. And it's like, you guys, you're
Ooh,
not
it's
going to
like
push me. I'm just going to keep doing
Naruto.
my shit. But like, I don't want them to just do that with Jujutsu. I want them to have complete freedom
Yeah.
still. And just like, I don't want it to alter from the mangaka's vision at all. I want them to be true to it and not have to like change anything or rush it or
I
end
totally feel
everything.
that.
Yeah, it's like Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like doesn't even need an anime. It's a
The
manga
manga is
that
so good, yeah.
the manga is just intriguing. It pulls you in. It gets slow during the part that I'm in right now, but I feel like that's more towards the plot. Kind of like Attack on Titan with the second season.
Yeah, it's very plot driven, not a lot of action in the
Yeah,
part you're at. It's like a lot of backstory into getting to know like why the people are at the point that they're at right now.
and it makes sense. And that's one thing people need to acknowledge and understand, that not all anime is going to be filled with blood, gore,
Mm,
and action packed. Like, if a good anime is going to have slow paced parts,
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
that's what makes it good.
Yeah.
right,
Because those slow paced parts is what builds the story and
right.
makes the fights more
Exactly.
fulfilling.
And that's like for me my favorite part of anime and manga is when they can create kind of like, it's not just fighting. They can create kind of like a backstory to the fight. Like
Yeah.
in Hunter x Hunter, a lot of people are, I'm always going back to Hunter x Hunter. A lot of people talk about how the current arc, like the journey to the Dark Continent, is like not as good because you'll have like whole chapters where every page is almost like a book because there's just so much dialogue that they're talking about. And I'm like, that I think
That's
makes
why I like it.
that makes it so cool. Like you see, like for instance, Kurapika, it's like espionage in a way. Like he's talking about how he's going to infiltrate and like eavesdrop and get information from this group of people. And it's like, well, I just want to see like going around like hammer fisting people. But I mean, like you can't just have that every episode, you know?
Not at all.
Yeah, man. It's like, that's why I feel like Naruto, like the anime in itself, was not as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
Mm,
Because Naruto,
I never did the manga.
yeah,
I
like
did
I used
manga.
to have like this big suitcase full of like at least 30, 40 chapters of Naruto, and that's the original Naruto.
The volumes, like
Yeah,
the
the
full
vault
books.
had the
Yeah,
volumes,
that's badass.
and um, and it's like Naruto became so popular that people kept wanting more and more and more and more.
Right.
That they released hundreds and hundreds of fillers, and Naruto isn't the fastest shown in anime there is.
Oh, yeah, dude, the plot takes forever to get to the
Uh,
part. Like sometimes you'll have full arcs that are filler that are like 20 episodes.
And it's like, and the plot of Naruto is amazing. The character development, everything in Naruto is amazing, unlike Dragon Ball Z. But and it's like the fights have more meaning to them because of the plot. Like
Right.
Naruto is just, no matter the filler, because you can always skip the filler. Even some of the filler have plot, and like
Yeah, that's the big controversy with Naruto is like, do you watch the filler or do you not? And then like some people, like my cousin, he's like obsessed with Naruto. It's his favorite anime of all time. He's like his big thing is that like any episode of Naruto still adds some value to the overall plot. I mean, for instance, you have like Kakashi going into his backstory, that whole arc when he's like a kid and when Obito like loses his eye and stuff. It's like, okay, yes, I understand that the whole premise of that filler kind of arc is, well, I don't even know if that's filler. I mean, most of it's canon, but they stretch it out so long. You know, you'll have like 30 episodes of the Kakashi backstory when it's really, you could do it in three.
when you have
yeah,
the
yeah.
actual Itachi story, which is 10 times more interesting, and they
Right.
have like one. It's so short. Like Itachi's backstory is something I wanted more of. I wanted to know more of Shisui. I wanted to know more of Itachi. I want to know more of Sasuke's parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, but they just did not shed any light on that.
Right.
If they shedded some light on it, was like like a little or a glimmer of light for Shisui and Itachi. Like
Right.
Itachi is one of the coolest freaking characters, man.
Definitely.
And it's not even just because of who he is; it's his backstory, why he killed his family,
Right.
he how he was trying to stop a coup d'état and then Uchiha and everything that he's fought for. Everything he had to kill his parent, he had to kill his whole village
So who's
because
your favorite Naruto character?
I think it's kind of obvious.
Achi.
Well, it's not just Itachi and Shisui. Like
Right.
I can't say so much for Shisui because there's not much of him, but his what he fought for, and first of all, his Sharingan was like the coolest Sharingan that there is. But it's kind of like nerfed to the point where not so broken because you can only use it once a year, which is kind of like stupid. But
Yeah.
it's hey man, if you had a Sharingan where if they looked into your eyes and you can get them to do whatever you wanted them to do, shoot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the Sharingans are some of the coolest abilities of all time.
definitely.
Another thing, I wish they told us what Madara's Sharingan ability is because they never told us
They
what
couldn't
it
come up with something. They're like, how can I come up with something
that's OP
more
enough for
badass
Madara.
than
I wish it would have just ended
Amelie?
with Madara. I wish that he would have just been the final battle bad guy.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah,
should have
that's
ended it with him.
I mean, the Naruto and Sasuke fight was it was the Naruto and Sasuke fight was cool, but
Right.
the what's her
The
name?
Kaguya
Yeah,
stuff was kind of,
Kaguya. Yeah,
but in a sense, like they kind of had to do that, or else Boruto couldn't have been a thing. You know, you had to
Naruto
kill.
shouldn't be a thing.
I guess
Oh,
I apparently it's supposed to be getting really good again.
Really?
the
Like,
manga is apparently really good.
yeah, I watched the anime and like I enjoyed the beginning of it
Beginning.
up until like when the Akats, is it the Akatsuki or whatever, like Kaguya's like
Yeah,
the alien people when they
They
come
came
down.
back.
Yeah, when they came back, like it kind of got weird, and then they like, I don't know, it was very slow for a while. It was almost like we were rewatching the old school Naruto, like all
yeah.
the kids going through like the contest and shit, which kind of lost me. But apparently, it's supposed to get really good.
Like Boruto's supposed to be a cool ass character. Like when I'm not sure. I don't remember if they previewed what Boruto's like when he's older in the anime, but I know they did in the manga because I did read like the
Mm,
first couple chapters of Boruto,
right.
and like he has like
Some
his
new ability in his
yeah, like
eye.
his eye, and then I don't. Does he have? No, he doesn't. I forgot his because he has another eye. I forgot what it is. But Boruto, nah, Boruto is he and he. I think he killed Sasuke, I'm pretty sure he killed
I have no idea.
Sasuke and Naruto or something like that. But he on Boruto becomes a rogue ninja,
Sure.
and yeah, he becomes more like Sasuke than Naruto.
That would be kind of cool if they made it like he becomes the villain and like the story is from the point of a
Yeah,
villain. That'd be kind of cool. I
but
don't really think I've ever seen a series like that.
I just wish they stood on that path rather than let's do the OG Naruto. You know,
it just feels like the OG Naruto, but not as good.
Right, right,
like Naruto is a sad. He's a sad ass character. Like you feel bad for Naruto when he's a kid.
right,
He's lonely. He has no friends, and he's doing things to just get attention from people.
right.
Naruto's a sad kid. His parents are dead. Like,
Yeah, and Boruto's just kind of an entitled little brat.
yeah, honestly,
Mhm.
like he has
It's like
both
the
his
exact
parents.
opposite of what Naruto was.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then like I will say though, when Naruto did give Boruto his jacket from when he was a kid, it did make me smile. I'm not sure if you guys watched that part, but when Naruto like showed Boruto what his jacket looked like when he was a kid
Yeah.
and how it was torn up and ripped up from all the things he'd done as a kid,
Uh-huh.
that brought even more meaning to what Naruto was when he was a kid because
Right.
he did a lot. Like he did a lot, and then he fought Sasuke when he was a kid, and the iconic fight where he has Sasuke had the curse mark, the second curse mark form.
Right.
It's just Naruto's just it's another breed that I don't think many other anime will be able to
nah.
top. But
I feel that for sure. I feel like Naruto was kind of like created almost in a sense from he had like an end goal of what he wanted and he worked back from that to create the story. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
okay, we started with this small idea and we're going to expand on it. He's like, no, I'm going to start from this big idea and then work down to see how we can get to that point instead
that
of
is a smart
trying
idea.
to figure out where we're going to go. Because he had like a lot of stuff that was so planned out. Like he'll mention something at episode 1 and they'll come back to it like episode 700.
That is true. That is true.
Right.
Very true.
Ah man. So
But we'll see, man. My Hero Academia, that's the next one that has a chance, I think, to be
Ooh.
like one of those big, great anime.
I think My Hero is going to essentially be like Japan's Marvel. I feel like there are going to be
Right.
so many spin-offs of it and so many more superhero like Marvel DC universes of the My Hero universe and just do
that's
something
possible.
like that.
That is
Yeah,
possible.
because My Hero has the potential to create other countries, you know? Like they could do the American heroes, like the European heroes, like the different because they talk about it in the movies, you know. When they go to that convention on the island and like
Mhm.
they meet because didn't like All Might supposedly go to America for a while or something?
Yeah.
About
I
one of
think
the,
he did, yeah.
yeah, so like they have that potentially if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Then they can make an ultimate bad guy that's like the whole world, like the best heroes from each country have to team up to beat it, like an Avengers.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. MHA is still not on my. It's still not. It's on my radar, but it's like I'm still got my eyes. I got one hand behind my back for that anime, man, because it's still there's some cool scenes, but it's just like I gotta still feel it out. I gotta have to see more of something different in the anime. If you understand,
Right.
like I don't know, it needs to be more 3 dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
but how you what else? Do you guys have anything else to say, or
Well, I don't think so.
No.
I feel like we should just name this video the many reasons why shonen may or may not suck.
Yeah.
How about I have an idea like shonen discussion because we kind of
Hey,
had a little bit of a shonen
Right.
discussion.
It did develop into full shonen degeneracy.
that is
So.
fine. That's perfectly fine
Yeah.
with me. So
Cool.
okay, so for the next anime next week, we're watching. I guess I gotta watch Mob Psycho.
Bob Psycho.
Okay, are we finishing
I'm gonna
JoJo or?
finish Stardust Crusaders. I'm gonna
Okay.
try.
All right, I'm gonna try to finish. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to finish both the last 2 parts of JoJo. I think they're both 25 episodes or something.
Yeah, I won't be able to finish all of them.
Yeah.
For
Not
sure.
at all.
But are you gonna? You should try to watch Weathering with You or get a feel of that movie looks
You
like.
do have to rent it. I couldn't find it anywhere. I
If
had to
they're
pull
on
it up
online.
on YouTube. I didn't look too much into it online. I just kind of searched it and looked through a couple pages. And was like, I'm just gonna rent it.
It was like $3.
$5.99.
Oh, $5.99.
Yeah.
Hey, if it's worth $5.99, it's worth $5.99.
I would say it's worth $5.99.
Okay. But yeah, I would say just to look for pirated websites, but they're cracking down on those a lot.
Yeah, I
Yeah, they are.
really bother because they're cracking down so much.
That's a whole nother topic.
Definitely. So Mob Psycho and more JoJo's and
Weathering with You.
Weathering with You.
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
This was episode 12, y'all. I definitely had a lot to say about Shonen, man. That's one thing I had to say. I had a lot to say about Shonen, and if you guys have something to say, let us know down in the comments below, man. If you agree,